Hello everyone, Exilium here, and today I just wanted to take a quick look at the banner now. They have released what is going to be on the banner for Makiatto, and so our SR units that will be rated up alongside her is going to be Sharkry and Krolik. So this is going to be an absolutely great banner to pull on. And there's a couple reasons for that. A lot of people make Krolik out to be a really bad unit because when you look at the tier lists, they have her down at tier, like the bottom tier on Pride Win as well as other places. But right now, she is absolutely great in the game, and I've used her to actually beat the dual team needed on the tier 6 boss, and I'm going to make an attempt and most likely be able to complete the tier 7 this week with my two teams, which will include Krolik in that team. So when we actually look at the original banner that they had on the CN side, you can see it was very similar, except they had Colleen instead of Sharkry. Now, if anyone's had Sharkry or currently has worked with her on any of our teams, you already know she's a top tier DPS. And even right now, some people are getting it where she's bypassing Changzhou's DPS just because of not having the dupes yet to really get that DPS out of Changzhou that we'll get in the future. But she is currently, to me, she's on the, I think a lot of tier lists show her like B or A tier. Sharkry is up there right along Zhangzhou as an S tier currently, in my opinion. And so being able to get her dupes to make her even better right now is going to be great, especially because now we're getting Makiatto on this banner. It's kind of really opening up some possibilities and getting your two teams together for actually completing content. It might be a reason why they actually have Makiatto coming next. So like right now, and it was my example, and a lot of other people's examples, we re-rolled to get Changzhou. So we got Changzhou. So we already have that burn team coming together. We have, for our healer currently, if you're kind of building that initial burn team, you have Xena right here. And so she's kind of being your burn team healer. And then you have Sharkry being your other main DPS alongside Zhangzhou to be like a dual support action team together. But then, depending on your needs, you can kind of go with a little bit more healing and bring a Cheetah onto that team as a burn team. She gives them a lot of support as well. So she's really good. But the one that I've been using and kind of liked, especially for that boss fight, because you need someone who can clear that little, that one area where you have like an objective to complete before you fight the boss. Krolik kind of fits just perfect in that, and she works really well right now with Sharkry. Just because when she goes, after her turn ends, she puts that overburn out, and that overburn will trigger Sharkry's support attack. So that's huge, and it gives you the ability to get an extra attack on the boss. She can clear out that one area, and then as if you saw my current video where I defeated the second boss with the burn team, she also was able to draw the attention away from one of the mobs, so I could pretty much ignore them initially and kill the boss rather than killing the mob. So it got me a little bit of extra time and damage on the boss versus having to deal with the mobs, especially since we have very little healing on the burn team currently. Now, when we take a look at the other part, is now we're getting Makiatto on this banner. We already have Suomi, and I'm going to assume anybody that's playing this game, you should have Suomi. I mean, she's pretty much a must pull in terms, I mean, you can't say anybody's a must pull, but she's the absolute best pull that you can really get on a start. Everybody can guarantee her. And so Makiatto will work perfectly alongside her, being able to do a lot of damage along because she's ice team as well. So you're already kind of solidifying your second team. You're going to have Suomi and Makiatto, and then you can kind of work with whoever you want as your other team members. Like I have Talolo, which might work with them. I might use Moza Nagant. I could use Granza. I mean, you pretty much have anybody you really want on that first team that's going to have Makiatto if you pull her. Because with Suomi, you don't have to worry as much on getting that perfect team together for your first team, because you're just going to be able to tank through the damage of that boss because of how good her shields are. Then you really need your other team that doesn't have the prime SSR healer to be really, really good at dealing damage. And right now, that is going to be the burn team, because they're the most complete of all the teams in terms of having a unit pretty much in every category needed. And so right now, the new banner here, having Sharkry and Krolik, is just going to make it so much easier, especially if you're like me and going to go over V1 of Makiatto, is because, I mean, there's a good chance I might be able to get both Krolik and Sharkry up to V6, depending on my luck. And if I get that, that's going to make it just that much easier with that team. But with that, that does bring into consideration the one thing I have when it comes to trying to predict what the next banner is going to be. And the one that I was looking forward to was if they did like a Cinerusi next, because the two that I kind of thought were the best chances was either going to be Makiatto to kind of get us that DPS role that goes well with Suomi to try and get people that, oh, I made all my pulls on Suomi, now I need to spend money to get Makiatto. That kind of leads me into thinking that Cinerusi could be the next one, because the reason I thought she might have been possibly the next one coming originally is because it gives us that second healer to kind of get your second team going, since there is already content that needs two teams at this point, and it is quite difficult, especially at our current levels, trying to do it with the SR healers. So that makes me believe that it's still a good potential, like the next one after Makiatto could be Cinerusi. And to me, she's another like big must, I wouldn't say must pull, but a very good pull, especially for the burn team, because they're giving us the burn units on the SR side here. So I suspect they'll bring out the burn healer on the next one, just making it that much more likely to tempt people to spend money that don't want to spend money. So my guess is Cinerusi would be the next one, just because of that. And so you kind of have to temper how much you want to pull into this, especially if you're just wanting to get the SRs. I know some people like to do the building of pity, and they may say, well, I like Makiatto. I don't want to go full blown and trying to get her, but I want to do a few 10 pulls on it. Maybe I get lucky and get her, maybe I don't, but I want to try and get a couple of copies of Sharkry or Krolik. Just know that there's a good potential we could see another really good unit on the burn side in Cinerusi coming next. So if you blow all your pulls on this one, you might risk not being able to get Cinerusi off the bat. And I'm going to tell you, she's going to be more important to get over Sharkry and Krolik, especially when it comes to getting the dupes. Like, a lot of people probably already have them just from doing all their standard pulls or their limited pulls on Suomi. So there's a good shot she could come next. And she's probably my best guess as being the next one is Cinerusi, just because of the way the banner's set up. Going in with this SRs that are fire or burn right into the burn healer, and then they could make the SRs on the burn healer maybe be the electric ones, and then they could lead into Lena, or they could set it up in a way that the SRs lead into what the next unit's going to be. But we have no clue. I mean, it could go into Diane next. I mean, it's all up in the air, and that's just kind of my guess. Is it's still going to probably be another one of the units up here next, but we'll kind of have to see there. But I mean, my advice for most people would be to pull on Makiatto. She's just great, and she goes great with Suomi. So you already got a core team coming together, as well as kind of building around that fire team or burn side of things. And then if Cinerusi comes out next, then you just throw everything you have at her until you get her, and then you should, at that point, you'll have two teams pretty much set to do the content. So it shouldn't be too difficult at that point. But yeah, to kind of keep it short here, if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And if you haven't noticed, I finally have surpassed that 1,000 subscriber mark. So thanks for everybody that has subscribed and pushed me over the edge last night. It's really nice to finally hit that big milestone so that I can have my channel monetized. And everything that I get in this channel is going to go 100% into these games so that I can maybe get more units to give better reviews on them, better looks at them. And then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. I'm planning on doing like a 1,000 subscriber stream celebration type thing. I don't know if I'm going to do it this weekend. I might push it till Christmas so I can kind of plan something around it. First thing I'll do is probably put a poll out on some ideas what to do for the stream, because basically what I want to do is like an all day type stream. So I get on streaming in the morning and I try and stream like the entire day on whatever day I do it, maybe even multiple days. And then from there, we'll kind of have to figure out what game I'm going to play a majority of the day, because yes, I'm going to play Girls Frontline 2 for a good chunk of it. I might want to play some of the other gachas, but they are gacha games, and I mean, you can't play them all day. I mean, eventually I'll have all the dailies done. I'll have all the weeklies done. I'll have beat any of the in-game content that I have for that week. And so I'll kind of want to move into something else. There's a few games that I've kind of got some ideas on. There is the one game that is in the Girls Frontline universe. I think it's Reverse Collapse Bakery or something like that on Steam. That's one idea I have. Kind of give us some backstory in the Girls Frontline, or actually I think it takes place after Girls Frontline. But give us some story in there, or maybe a couple other games that are out there. We'll kind of have to see. Who knows? Maybe I'll just boot up Girls Frontline 1, the first one, and just kind of go right into that and try and play that story, even though that game's been out a while. We'll kind of have to see from there. But I do want to try and do that probably with on the Christmas break. I'll just have more time to make it work. And then I am planning. I don't know if I'll have it done over this weekend, but I will be moving into another room that'll make it a little bit easier for me to stream without having to worry about my heater unit in the background. Because it's starting to get pretty cold here, and having it turned off all day will make it quite cold in this house. My wife won't like that. So I kind of have to figure out that as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and call it here. But thanks for watching.